about a week and a half out from Hurricane Sally. I have to jump up on my boat now because the water level's so high. There's too much water in the bay to be able to move our boat safely. While this isn't an official boat tour, I would invite you to come on aboard and we'll take a look at some of the stuff we're going to be demoing when we can finally get our beautiful boat to the boatyard. He's Turtle.
She's Kia.
And these are the Sloopknot Chronicles, the story of a couple of sarcastic siblings learning to live as heavy metal sailors.
All while searching the globe for tattooing tradition and history.
In June of 2020, I bought a 1999 Bruce Roberts 434D. She's a decent-sized vessel, coming in at about 21 tons, or the equivalent of 21 Volkswagen Beetles. And just over 43 feet in length. From the waterline to the top of her mast, she sits at 62 feet. From the waterline to the bottom of her keel, she's 6.5 feet. And she's made of steel. We had to consider each of these details when determining where and how we could get her hauled out. We were presented with two simultaneous challenges: finding a do-it-yourself boatyard and getting out of Choctawhatchee Bay. The height of our mast and the clearance of the surrounding bridges kept us from leaving in all but one direction. Life circumstances, combined with Mother Nature, seemed determined to make us wait out hurricane season before providing any real opportunities to leave the bay. The 2020 Atlantic hurricane season was one of the busiest on record. Storm after storm pummeled the U.S. and the Caribbean, bringing devastating winds and life-threatening flooding. Louisiana, and Lake Charles in particular, were hit especially hard. Hurricane Sally was the closest storm to make landfall near my boat, and I'm grateful to have only sustained minimal damage. Oh yeah, here we go. This side and this pile, they got into a little bit of a disagreement. But still, I'm gonna have to say my boat won. Yeah. Mid-Bay Bridge, our only exit point from Choctawhatchee Bay, has a clearance of 65 feet when the water level is considered normal. This height allows for a 62-foot tall boat to pass under with just enough space to feel safe. The immediate impacts of a hurricane include high winds and flooding. After the winds pass, the flooding, or storm surge, usually remains. It was storm surge that kept us in the bay. With the water several feet higher than normal, there was not enough space for our mast to clear the bottom of the bridge. Before the boatyard, our land home and our boat home were about 700 miles apart. That's almost 12 hours by car. During this time, I was also working a full-time job, and they had no idea what my plans were. When I bought this boat, I had a good understanding of the project list I was about to inherit. We knew we were looking at a minimum of 4 weeks from haul out to splash day. For this reason, finding a DIY yard that would allow us to live on the boat while completing the work was important. I'll talk more about that in another episode. For now, let's take a look at some of the projects we'll be undertaking in the coming months. We are here about midship on the port side, and I'm going to take you to the front. That's where we're going to start. Watch your step. Remember, one hand for you, one hand for the boat. We are going to focus primarily on the metalwork that needs to be done on this boat in order to make sure that she is seaworthy and not a rust bucket.
At the starboard bow, there's a section of the hull that had been professionally patched by a boatyard not too far from where we purchased her. This area needs attention, and the only way to correctly repair the hull will be to haul out the vessel, grind away all the yuck, and assess the metal underneath. At this point, we're not sure if we need to cut and replace the entire patch, or if it just looks worse than it really is.
There are obvious signs of decay.
There are various spots around the deck where rust is showing through the paint. The port lights are all in pretty bad shape.
Pretty sure this one's, it does open on the inside, but...
Once we haul out, we'll grind, cut, and weld wherever we need to, and make sure she's repaired properly.
We have got to get rid of the fiberglass tape. We're probably gonna have to cut this entire section out and just replace it. Just completely replace the metal there. Since we can't get to the boatyard just yet, we're making the best of this time and using it to pinpoint each of the leaks. This is a DORAD box, or should be a DORAD box. It is a contraption that allows for airflow to come into the boat and into the cabin of the boat and keeps water out. The unfortunate fact of this one is there is a pretty serious disconnection between the box and the frame, the deck of the boat, and it leaks. This is one of the huge things that's causing some major yuck on the inside. We are really looking forward to being able to pull this boat out and fix things like this. When I purchased the boat, the windows had some Lexan tinted, yellowed. You couldn't see through the windows. So what we've done is replace them with some acrylic. It is a temporary replacement right now. As you can see, we have just sealed the edges with some Gorilla Tape. We will be taking most of the metal behind these frames down to bare metal. There's a lot of rust damage behind these frames. It's causing some water to get inside the boat, and we do not want water inside the boat. So this is an example of what the front windows looked like when we first purchased this boat. We have the advantage of having a pilot house, so we can steer from inside in inclement weather. The unfortunate thing is, yeah, you can't see through these at all. Nothing. So we replace them. These will be coming off and will be replaced with that same clear acrylic that we have in the front windows. You will also notice this awesome tarp that is on top of the roof of the boat, because there are several places on this roof that leak heavily. And I would like to point out that this deck is all metal. This is a steel deck. Yeah. So when we go to fix the leaks in this, it's a matter of sanding and welding if need be, metal repair. That's wood and fiberglass. We are ripping that puppy off and no more. And this is one of the reasons that this roof is gonna get ripped off, because we care a lot more about the metal than we care about the wood. So we need to get that, we need to be able to access that, get in there, grind that down, get it to some nice raw shiny metal, and repair that. Think about this as a little trampoline. Gorilla Tape, man, this does not leak at all. This is a vent over the galley stove. It was just cracked, not even attached. It's rusted, like there's just rust all around here. There's not anything to attach a vent to right now. And we come down on the sugar scoop. All right, so looking at the sugar scoop and our transom, there's quite a bit of oxidization back here. We got some rust spots. Got another port light back here. Gonna have to grind that out. While there is a ton of steel work to be done, not all of our projects include the possibility of tetanus. So our standing rigging is in pretty good condition. All of our shrouds are good. What is not in excellent condition is our running riggings. That's all of these lines. As you can tell, this is not how you want your halyards to look, ladies and gentlemen. That's gonna be a project, replacing pretty much all of the running rigging. I feel really fortunate to have these 2-speed self-tailing winches. Got a big boat. It's a lot of load. These are nice to have. However, they have not been appropriately cared for. They've been out in the weather. You can see there's parts that are missing. So we are gonna have to rebuild these. That's okay. It's cheaper to rebuild them than it is to buy new ones. Binnacle's in good condition. The problem that we have is this actual pedestal. So this pedestal is falling apart. And this is original from 1999. It has been out in the weather. It hasn't been protected. We replaced the top of it because, well, when we were trying to shift, this whole thing just came up. Anyway, this is at least secure. However, let me show you some of the really bad stuff. Yeah, this should not come apart like this. And oh man, I was just reminded that this opens to where our waste tank is. Whew. There are a lot of things I really love about this door. A lot of things. Flaky, all the things, and a handle that doesn't work. Those are not things I like about it at all. We're talking about how we want to replace this, what it's going to look like. What I do know is that it's not going to look like this because it's going to be new. Come on inside. This, however, I love this port light. Love it. I'll be keeping it. Watch your head. All right, welcome inside. This is the first look at our saloon as it is right now, before any demo, before any major repairs. We've got study, we've got a table, we have our inside helm station over here. Most of our nav equipment is inside. We do have a little bit outside, but most of it's in here for, you know, protection from the elements. Plus we can see it right up there. Saloon, we talked a lot when we were above deck about the roof needing to be replaced, and these are the reasons why. Look, this is definitely an area that rotted out. It's presently not leaking because, well, we have a tarp over it. We've also got this area. It looks like there's been a repair, but it was not an effective repair. This is the part where it gets really good. Come on down into the galley. The Dorad box that is above deck, this is what it looks like on this side. So you can see right here, it is still leaking. This awesome Solo cup is doing a great job of catching it. There's rust. This whole bit needs to be replaced. Also, one of the things that we'll be doing is getting rid of this styrofoam insulation. We'll be using a different kind, but we'll show you about that. This is the other side of the shore power box. You can see it's a whole lot of just growth that's in there between the mold and the wood decay and the light shining through. That's just not an acceptable fix. Before any of the electricians out there freak out when I open this, just remember it was like this when we found it, okay? Well, that just looks like a fire waiting to happen, and a fire on a boat is not a good thing. This is my trampoline vent, so even on the inside, you can take a look in there, and you can see how the metal is just completely corroded away. We don't turn the galley lights on because, well, it leaks everywhere, and water and electricity are a bad thing. We don't want to short out the lights, and at least one of these lights has been dripping, so we just don't use galley lights right now. That's what it is. This is the forward cabin, often referred to as the V-berth. We are fortunate enough to have a V-berth that is large enough we can actually walk into it and move around. And we also have an extra head in here, which is great for my shipmate because then he gets his own bathroom with his bedroom. However, there's some repairs that need to happen here. We've just got a lot of water damage. I mean, this is damp right now. I'm surprised it's not drippy. There's just a lot of water damage in all of the overhead. So we're gonna rip it out and see what's under there. That way we can get to the metal and we can make sure that the metal is repaired, and then we'll worry about the wood. Yeah, thanks for joining me on the little tour of all the things that need to be fixed. Actually, not even all the things, just some of the things, some of the big things. So we are not going to be the ones moving the boat because we can't work it out with our timing. But Lee and Lyle are going to move the boat, which is cool because Lee used to own the boat and he brought it here from Panama City, and now he's going to be taking it back to Panama City for us. Yay! Thanks, Lee.
Mark,